lot going on, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Everything was very easy to follow. There was some really good character development in this chapter. I mean, it was just overall, it was a really good chapter. I really like this. This is starting this volume off with a bang, or rather, it's carrying the momentum that this volume had with a bang. Two things that really stood out to me. One, now that I think about it, isn't as big, but while I was reading, it was big. And that's that Luffy and Zoro, neither one of them have a sense of direction. And the reason why I said now that I think about it, when Luffy was in his ship, he was just kind of drifting around. So it doesn't surprise me when the chapter ends and he says, Usopp, why didn't you tell me which way north was? Like any idiot knows where north is. And then with Zoro, Zoro was in the ship along with him. And he and Luffy were just kind of drifting around. That's how they got to Buggy's place. Or rather the island Buggy was on. And the other thing that I found very interesting was when Zoro finally gets above that little oil trap that Usopp laid, he's having trouble figuring out which direction to go. So once again, I mean, now that I think about it, it's not as big of a shock. When I was reading it, it was comical, but at the same time, I was like, damn. But that's why I got my girl Nami. And that's why I'm going to go next, right? My girl Nami, man, like, she's not really a fighter. I mean, she threw down a little bit against Buggy's pirates and everything when they were trying to rescue Luffy, when Luffy was in that cage. But in this chapter, she's really just doing a lot of defensive stuff. And for the most part, that's not even working. I mean, she blocks a few attacks and then she gets overpowered. But at least she did something. So, I give her a pass for that. I particularly love it. I know some of you guys in the comment section said, hey, she's going to be useful till around chapter 500 and then it's going to be whatever. So that's cool with me, man, because that means I got 470 chapters of her to go. But this is what I really found interesting, and this is what resonated the most with me, and that's Usopp has a lot of heart. I mean, he has a lot of heart, man. And I found it really interesting that he called the villagers my people. Like the language that Oda is choosing to use, especially from a guy like Usopp, who has basically been cast aside by the village because nobody believed in him, right? Nobody thought he was telling the truth about these pirates. And he's saying my last tall tale will be a true one. Just the play on words and the irony in that phrase. I mean, that was just very beautiful. And he's saying it right before he gets his skull bashed in. You see the blood trickling out. And that's when he says, you can't hurt my people. It was just really beautiful. Like, I'm going to check out the anime episode for this, but I can imagine what that feels like if they got the right music going, man. Like, the right music can change the tone of a scene. And just reading that, that was powerful. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But the reason why that really resonated with me is Usopp is holding on to those core values that he has. Because I really feel like at his core, he may be a liar, but he's got a good heart. And he's standing up for what's right. Once again, those are leadership qualities. And I know one of you guys said, hey, pay attention to the small things when it comes to Luffy, because you act like you don't know, have a good idea of him. That's absolutely right. I have a feel of him, but I don't have a complete grasp on his character. But I am noticing very subtle things. But it's easier to pick up with secondary characters like Usopp, because you can tell Oda is really trying to develop his secondary cast. At least he's not forgetting about him. That's something I had a problem with Kishimoto's writing. I'm not going to get off on a rant on that. But this is what I found most interesting. When Zoro and Luffy finally catch up, they're standing on the high ground, and that is symbolic. Like I told you guys in the last chapter, I'm really big on reading strategy books, and once again, we see somebody with the high ground, but we see them after Django's people have already taken what was assumed to be the high ground from Nami and Usopp. So this is key. And the thing is the guys that are standing on the high ground now, if you look at the panel, right? If you look at it, it's looking like it's like shooting up towards them. The best way I can describe it to you is when you watch a movie, right? And they want to make somebody look taller, they shoot from an angle and they shoot where the camera's looking up at the person. That way they appear to be taller. Well, the way that panel is drawn, not only are Luffy and Zoro sitting on top of the hill, but the panel's drawn to where it's almost like there's a lens shooting, looking up. And I really feel like that symbolizes the gap between the two. Like, what I mean by the two is, you know, Zoro and Luffy, and then the pirates down there, Django included. There's a huge gap. It's almost like saying the gap between them might be heaven and earth. Like, I might say the gap between Django and Luffy and Zoro, instead of heaven and earth, might be the moon and earth. It's a little closer, but there's still a noticeable gap. I'm guessing we'll find out in the next chapter. But that's really it for this review, man. My chapter question for each and every one of you is going to be this: what resonated the most with you in this chapter? For me, it was watching Usopp get the hell beat out of him and still stick to his guns. That was very powerful right there. The best scene I can kind of relate that to, I've actually got two. The first one is when Naruto was getting the life beat out of him by Kabuto, and he was really only doing that because he was, I believe he was protecting Tsunade. I don't think that was when he was trying to get the headband. It's been a while since I read that fight. No, the headband was during the Zabuza fight. Okay, and the second thing it reminded me of was Rurouni Kenshin. If you guys have not read the manga or watched the anime, do it. It's really good. Samurai X. But there's this scene where Kenshin, towards the end of the arc, right? He's meeting the guy that used to lead the Oniwaban group, and he's getting the life beat out of him, but he's refusing to kill the guy, even though he knows he can do it. He's got this vow not to kill anymore, and he's struggling with his bloodlust. However, he sticks to his guns, and he's doing it so he can reach them. But that's it for this review, though, man. If you liked anything I had to say, make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, and share. I'm going to greatly appreciate you guys. But that's it. Thanks for watching Kryptonian.